all your extraterrestrial gifts, your kundalini, your 24 chakra system, your I am, 12 different levels of clairvoyance, you're going to have some problems because you've exited out of the last pyramid of Mag and Magog. You're now either in the Vatican's on your ass, you have France, the center of the Illuminati, and then there are 4 others which are the forbidden, that go beyond Freemasonry, and they don't want anything to do with that, which I will refuse to mention. Unfortunately, I don't believe in withholding information, but these people, these groups, they deal with, like, the bottom part, aluminum, bikers, supernatural, de-evolution, extraterrestrial encounters. So mentioning them could be, like, the highest level of fuckery for me. But I know about them. I know of their work. I know how they operate. I know how they communicate. So I know how all of these groups communicate. Now, when you're on the bottom pyramid, the Maslow's pyramid of needs is something you want to understand and master. Then you need to understand the BITE model. If you can understand the BITE model, you can get through silver. If you use all of the Eastern arts, and I will just list them really quickly, if you meditate regularly using Kriya meditation techniques, let me go over it. There's a couple of things you can do when you're meditating. Now, I'll show you my prayer, too. Here's my prayer. You pray for those around you, those pointing the way, those in authority, the weak, and then yourself. And then you hold yourself accountable for that prayer. That's the Prophet's prayer. And then you can start meditating for 10 minutes, AM and PM. Then you can go to 20. Then you can go to 40. And that's like the highest level. Because then in certain instances you can meditate for 3 to 4 hours. You want to use different mudras, so you need to learn all the mudras. There's a book for that. There's all the different mantras. That's in Sanskrit. That's a vibrational language. You want to learn Sanskrit. You want to learn Arabic. You want to learn Latin. And you want to learn Hebrew and Greek occasionally. So that will release all that information and all those doors and all those mental circles and consciousness. And then you want to practice chanting chants. Hindu chants are the best. That's the best vibrational language origination and oldest scripts of knowledge that we have archaeological evidence of. You want to read the Bhagavad Gita. You want to read the Bible. You want to have a strong concordance to interpret the actual language of the Bible. And then you really want to study and memorize verses of at least one spiritual text. And then that is called the one pathway. So the Illuminati and the Freemasons don't care what religion you're practicing as long as you do something like that. So for 7 years, choose one text. And like basically memorize it by like copy paste the verses and speak them to yourself every morning. That's called meditating on the word. Okay, so now you're meditating on the word, you're chanting the vibrational sounds of your chakras using the mudras and the vibrational sound. You're saying Om, you're getting somewhere. Okay, you want to eat healthy. You want to look at micro, macro, nutrients. You're wanting to look at getting your heart rate up. You're wanting to look at yoga. So to open up all of these areas, section by section, chakra by chakra, really understanding the feeling of your own energy. And then you want to move into practicing mindfulness. So like DBT, ACT, these are different therapies. So if you go to therapy, the devil takes therapy. We all need therapy. DBT is mindfulness. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and something related trauma therapy, ACT. So get those books, there's 3 workbooks. They're really good for you. Take them to your therapist and get something actually out of therapy. And then you want to build onto habits and hobbies that include making things because you are a creative being. So you're going to want to do Skillshare, and you can educate yourself on the world that I am telling you about, the world that you were born into. You can do that by, there's a couple of things. looked at the master classes, classical. There's these online subscriptions. They're like Netflix, but they're all documentaries and they're all run. All the information is coming out for the Age of Horus. And the reason that they're doing this is because they're still going to make the transition. They're still going to try to keep the same lies. They're just upgrading it to the transition in which consciousness is changing on the planet. And then they're like, we're going to save the planet, but they're not really. Like, if you get down to the actual study of what their green plan is, they're looking to leave you behind because they know they can't do shit about it. So they got to that level actually in the 40s. I had a government climate change book from the 40s that really kind of revealed it, and there's secret publications of science that come out through the Freemasons only, so I got my hands on those too. I got my hands on everything. And it's because I started to scare people in public, and I did social experiments. If I were to make a documentary, mine would be on the exorcisms of humanity, because they don't keep their shit straight, and I like to fuck with people's heads when they're trying to fuck with my life. So I want to know, I'm chasing a rabbit. So that's what I've spent my entire life doing. And if you educate yourself, just make sure you play the fool. You want to learn to use occultic things, like crystals, essential oils. What these allow you to do, they're just focus items. They're healing items, energy healing items, and focus items. All of these things. Do not take them on some supernatural winging of New Age shit. Learn how to use them properly. Melodies, 3 books. Love is in the Earth for crystals. There's Indian mudras for Indian mudras. I can put a link to my book list on Goodreads, but I don't think everything's on there, but I could try to manage that, at least for humanity at least. My goal was if they made a nonprofit called the House of Sophia, where people could actually make their own educational programs out of these mastery level books, then they could educate themselves. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to get to that level, so you better do it. And you're going to want to realize that you're human, so you're going to want to know how to build shelter, bushcraft, build a fire, know how and where to build a shelter, and how to deal with the environment, because you're human. Okay? So there are again, there's traps of cults the whole way through, even within the bushcrafting community. Do not get involved in any subculture. A subculture is kind of like a band-aid and an excuse to actually practicing and involving yourself in the evolutionary process. So whether it's video games or LARPing or dressing up like an animal or hanging yourself from your skin, or bikers, or flagellants, or whatever. That's where pestilence, disease, and absolute de-evolution exist, because those are used as band-aids for your psychological and spiritual evolvement. The Biopsychological Paradigm of Shamanism is a good book. Carl Jung's works are a good book. You've heard of Alan Watts, probably. So get on this level, get on these levels, know who these people are. There's the School of Life there's a bunch of channels on YouTube that kind of go over this, but history combined with psychology, philosophy, the science, and the arts cannot lie to you if you involve all of those aspects into your historical education. And then you apply yourself to an art and you practice your own spiritual practice and enlightenment. Every day you should have something that you read for 30 minutes, write for 30 minutes, meditate, chant, or do yoga for 30 minutes, practice prayer, and whatever other spiritual practices that you're in the season of. Go with the seasons of your enlightenment for your third eye. Trust your intuition. There's no greater thing. And balance your masculine and feminine so you can take in more information. Open your heart chakra and keep your crown. That's all I have to say, because that pretty much wraps up the sum of how to beat the lie of existence on this planet for the Age of Horus. That's my instructions. If it goes on the internet, there you go.